My future mother-in-law looked me straight in the face and said, "Your family doesn't fit the image we're going for. I've already told the planner to remove them from the ceremony. My friends will walk you down the aisle instead." I smiled, set my coffee cup down, and answered, "Great idea. In that case, you won't be in the ceremony either." 2 weeks later, she arrived at the venue in a glittering designer dress and found out she'd been completely replaced. I'm Daniel, 29, and this is the story of how my ex-mother-in-law tried to erase my family from my own wedding, and how I quietly erased her instead. I met Emily 4 years ago at a friend's 4th of July barbecue. She was 24, funny, smart, and way out of my league, or so I thought. She worked in marketing, always had perfect nails, and somehow knew exactly which angle to hold her phone for pictures. I'm an electrician. I come home with dust on my boots and lines on my hands. My parents are small-town people. My dad owns a tiny auto shop. My mom runs the church daycare. We're not fancy, but we're close. Emily's family. Not close. Expensive. Her mom, Linda, ran a luxury events consulting business, which basically meant planning rich people's parties and talking about it nonstop. Her dad, Charles, was a lawyer who liked to remind everyone of it every 10 minutes. The first time I met them, Linda looked me up and down like I was a pair of shoes she hadn't ordered. "Oh," she said, forcing a smile. "You're Daniel, the electrician. Nice to meet you, Ms. Hayes," I said, sticking out my hand. She hesitated before taking it, like blue collar might be contagious. Emily squeezed my arm under the table that night and whispered, "Don't take it personally. She's like this with everyone." I wanted to believe that. Fast forward 3 years. Against all odds, Emily and I were happy. We'd survived job changes, a car accident, and one short break where she needed to make sure I was ambitious enough for her long-term goals. She said she was sure. We got engaged in a park near my parents' house. Simple, quiet, just us. She cried, said yes, kissed me like a rom-com. For about 48 hours, it felt perfect. Then Linda got involved. From day one, she treated our wedding like it was her personal Super Bowl. "I already have a relationship with the best venues," she told us, sliding a thick binder onto the table. "And obviously I'll be handling the design. This will be my portfolio centerpiece for the next decade." Our wedding. Her portfolio piece. Emily beamed. "You're amazing, Mom." I smiled tightly. "Thanks for helping." "Helping," Linda repeated, like it was a dirty word. "Sweetheart, I'll be doing all the heavy lifting. You two can just show up and say I do." That should have been my first major warning sign. For the first couple months, it was just annoying. Constant group texts, 17 different Pinterest boards, arguments about napkin colors. I wanted something small, maybe 80 people, outdoor ceremony, barbecue, lots of dancing. Linda wanted an elevated experience. Her words, not mine. "That means what exactly?" I asked. "It means no cheap beer, no paper plates, and no line dancing," she said. "We are not hosting a county fair." Emily laughed. "She's kidding." Mostly. I pushed my concerns down. I loved Emily. If putting up with Linda's ego was the price, I could handle it. Until she went after my family. The bomb dropped on a Sunday afternoon. Emily and I were at Linda and Charles's house for one of their formal dinners. 3 forks, cloth napkins, tiny portions. We were going over the final guest list. Linda had it printed and highlighted like a legal document. "Now, we ended up with 210 guests," she said. "A bit more than you wanted, Daniel, but still intimate for our circle." "Our circle," I repeated. "Right." I scanned the list, looking for my parents' names. They were on there, but something felt off. "Where are my sisters?" I asked. "My younger sisters, Katie and Lily, are 20 and 18. They're loud, goofy, and were more excited about my wedding than anyone." Linda didn't even look up from the papers. "We had to make some adjustments." "What kind of adjustments?" I said slowly. "Teenagers and very young adults can be unpredictable at sophisticated events," Linda said. "This wedding is black tie optional. It's not really the environment for TikTok dances and shrieking." "Excuse me," I said. "They're my sisters. They're part of the family." "I understand," she said, in a tone that made it very clear she didn't. "But we're already at capacity. We needed room for important guests. Clients. Charles's partners. People who will actually appreciate the atmosphere." Emily looked between us, nervous. "Mom, we talked about this. Daniel's sisters were supposed to be bridesmaids. They can come to the rehearsal dinner," Linda said. "Family only, no business obligations. It will be much more appropriate." I felt my face heat up. "So let me get this straight," I said carefully. "My sisters aren't invited to the wedding, but your clients are?" Linda gave me that patronizing smile I'd come to hate. "Daniel, darling, you're thinking emotionally, not practically. This wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime networking opportunity. Do you know how many future contracts I can lock in from an event like this? It's mutually beneficial. For who? I asked. Sure isn't for my family. Charles finally spoke up, swirling his wine. Son, these things are about optics. The right people in the right seats. Your sisters are young. They'll understand when they're older. They understand now, I said. They understand their future sister-in-law's mother thinks they're an embarrassment. Emily squeezed my hand under the table. We can figure something out, she whispered. But she didn't say it out loud. That hurt more than anything. I didn't blow up. I didn't yell. I just sat there, staring at Linda, feeling something inside me quietly shift. Actually, Linda continued, flipping pages, there's one more little thing. It's about the ceremony itself. What about it? I asked. Well, traditionally, the bride's parents sit in the front row, she said. And of course we'll be walking Emily down the aisle. Charles on one side, me on the other. Very elegant. Emily smiled. We talked about that, remember? I thought it would be sweet. I thought my mom was going to walk with you, I said slowly. And your dad? Linda waved a hand. Your mother can sit with your father, dear. The front row will be for us and our closest friends. They're essentially co-hosts. My chair scraped loudly against the tile as I stood up. So, I said, my voice very calm. Just so we're all clear, my sisters aren't invited, my parents get shoved behind your business associates. And you two are the stars of the show? Linda's smile didn't even wobble. Now you're getting it. Emily stood up too. Mom, this is going too far. Emily, Linda snapped. I am pouring $80,000 into this wedding. The least I get is a say in how it looks. There it was. The price tag. The leverage. I looked at Emily. Her mouth opened. Closed. Babe, she said finally. Maybe we can compromise. Like, have a separate celebration for your family. A more casual one they'd enjoy. A consolation prize. For my own wedding. I felt something inside me go very, very still. Okay, I said. Linda's face relaxed. Good. I'm glad we can be adults about. You're absolutely right. I cut in. This wedding should reflect your values, your priorities, your image. It should be exactly what you want. I turned to Emily. Question, I said. Do you agree with your mom? Yes or no? Her eyes filled with tears instantly. Daniel, it's not that simple. It actually is, I said quietly. Do you think my family doesn't belong at our wedding? Silence. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She just stared at me with that deer-in-headlights look that tells you everything you need to know. Got it, I said. I put my napkin on the table, grabbed my jacket, and walked out. Linda called after me. Don't be dramatic, Daniel. You'll thank me later. She had no idea. I drove around for an hour before ending up in my parents' driveway. My mom opened the door in her fuzzy slippers, took one look at my face, and pulled me into a hug. What did they do? She asked into my shoulder. I told them everything. The guest list, the seating, the aisle, the way Emily just froze. My dad listened quietly, arms folded. When I finished, he nodded once. Son, he said, if that's how they see us now, they're not going to magically respect you after the wedding. This is the good part. It only gets harder later. My mom wiped her eyes. We don't want you to lose someone you love over us, but we also don't want you marrying into a family that's ashamed of where you come from. I sat there, staring at our old family photos on the wall, and realized something. I loved Emily, but I loved the people in those photos more. And they'd never made me choose between love and dignity. The next morning, I called Linda. She answered on the second ring, sounding chipper. Daniel, I'm so glad you called. I assumed you'd want to apologize for last night. Actually, I said, I wanted to tell you that you were right. Pause. I was. About everything, I said. This wedding really is your investment. Your show. Your networking event. And I would hate to ruin your aesthetic with my embarrassing family. Her smile was almost audible. Well, I'm glad you've cooled down. We can still have a beautiful. That's why, I continued. I'm withdrawing from the wedding entirely. Silence. What? I'm calling the officiant today, I said. And the venue. And the vendors I booked. The groom won't be attending, so you're free to redesign the event however you want. No plumber's son dragging down the visuals. You can't be serious, she snapped. I'm completely serious, I said. You made it clear my family isn't good enough to be part of this. I come from that family. Do the math. You are throwing away my daughter's future over seating charts, she hissed. No, I said. I'm walking away from a future where my wife is okay with my family being treated like trash. There's a difference. I hung up before she could answer. Then I started making calls. I canceled the DJ my cousin was going to run. I called the photographer my parents had saved up to hire. I told the pastor from my childhood church that we wouldn't need him after all. Every time I said the words, "the wedding is off," the knot in my chest loosened a little. Then I did one more thing. I booked a pavilion at the local park, same one where my parents had celebrated their anniversary a few years earlier, because it was cheap and big enough for our whole extended family. Date? Same day as the wedding. Why waste a reservation? I told my mom. We'll just celebrate something else. What? She asked. Escaping bad in-laws before it's too late, I said. Emily called an hour later, sobbing. Daniel, please, she cried. Mom told me you canceled everything. We can fix this. I'll talk to her. She'll put your sisters back on the list. We'll let your mom sit in the second row. My mom was supposed to walk you down the aisle. I reminded her. Remember? She went quiet. I love you, she whispered. I want to marry you. If you loved me, I said gently, you would have said something when your mom tried to erase my family. You didn't. You only care now because your wedding is falling apart. That's not true. Maybe not entirely, I said. But it's true enough. We went back and forth for an hour. She cried. She begged. She promised boundaries and counseling and new guest lists. I believed that she was scared. I didn't believe she was ready to stand up to her mother for the rest of our lives. I'm not doing a marriage where your mom holds the checkbook and my family's dignity over our heads, I said finally. I'm out. And I hung up. The meltdown that followed was legendary. Linda sent me a 27-paragraph email about contracts and deposits and legal ramifications. Charles left me a voicemail implying he could sue me for breach of promise, which I'm 99% sure is not a thing anymore. I responded once. Dear Linda, per your own words, this was your investment and your event. I trust someone with your expertise will handle the fallout gracefully. Regards. The plumber's son. Then I blocked their numbers. The day that was supposed to be my wedding? It was 78 degrees and sunny. My family showed up at the park with crock pots and coolers. My aunt brought her famous mac and cheese. My grandma made enough pies to feed a small army. My cousin set up a Bluetooth speaker and a grill. We had a blast. We ate. We played cornhole. We took ridiculous group photos. My sisters wore the dresses they'd bought for the wedding anyway, just with sneakers instead of heels. At one point they linked arms with my mom and pretended to do a mock aisle walk, everyone laughing. I posted one picture on social media. My whole family, sweaty and smiling, paper plates in hand. Caption: Wedding plans changed. Guest list didn't. Family first. I didn't tag anyone. I didn't have to. Update 1, 2 weeks later. Small towns talk. So do bigger cities when a good story is involved. It didn't take long for the truth to leak out. Apparently one of Emily's bridesmaids had been at the infamous dinner and told her boyfriend, who told his coworker, who told. You get the idea. By the time it got back to me, the story had mutated into something like: rich wedding planner bans groom's family from ceremony. Groom cancels wedding and throws barbecue instead. Not inaccurate. One of my cousins made a TikTok slideshow with screenshots of my park photos, a voiceover explaining what happened, and the caption: when your future MIL says your sisters don't fit the aesthetic, so you cancel the aesthetic. Last time I checked, it had over 1 million views. People I barely knew messaged me saying they were proud of me for standing up for my family. A few told me about their own nightmare in-laws and how they wished they'd walked away before it was too late. Even some of Linda's precious clients reached out to my mom. One woman, Mrs. Grant, called our house. I had no idea what Linda was doing, she told my mother. If I'd known she was treating you that way, I'd never have agreed to come. Please know not all of us are like her. My mom cried after that call. Good tears this time. From what I heard, the actual non-wedding was a disaster. The venue refused to refund Linda's deposit. Some guests showed up before they'd been told it was postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. Someone posted a picture of the empty ceremony arch with the caption: most expensive networking event with no purpose I've ever attended. Brutal. Update 2, 1 month later. Emily texted me again. I know you hate me, she wrote. But can we talk? I don't hate you, I replied. I just don't trust you to choose me over your mom. She asked to meet for coffee. I agreed, as long as it was somewhere very public. She looked tired when she arrived. Less polished. More real. I moved out, she said, before I could even sit down. I'm staying with a friend. Mom and I aren't speaking. I didn't say anything. She keeps telling everyone you overreacted, Emily continued. That you threw away our future over a misunderstanding. She leaves out the part where she tried to uninvite your sisters. Does she leave out the part where you didn't object? I asked. Emily flinched. I froze, she said quietly. I've spent my whole life letting her steamroll me. It was easier to be quiet. I didn't realize how much it hurt you until I pictured your mom sitting in the back while my mom walked me down the aisle. You shouldn't need a viral TikTok to tell you that's messed up, I said. A tear slid down her cheek. She wiped it away angrily. I know, she whispered. I don't know who I am without her voice in my ear telling me what to do. That's what I'm trying to figure out now. I genuinely hope you do, I said. But I can't do that work for you. And I'm not signing up to be collateral damage while you figure it out. She nodded. So that's it. We're done. We've been done since the night you looked at your mom, then looked at me, and chose silence. I said. This is just the part where we admit it out loud. We sat there for a minute. I really did love you, she said softly. I loved you too, I said. But I love my family more. And I finally love myself enough not to marry into a situation where I have to apologize for where I came from. She left without looking back. I watched her go and felt sad, but not uncertain. Final update, 2 months later. Life is calmer now. I go to work. I meet my buddies for beers on Fridays. I spend Sundays at my parents' house eating my mom's roast and listening to my sisters argue about whose turn it is to pick the movie. Sometimes people still recognize me from the TikTok. They'll say, "Hey, you're that guy whose mother-in-law tried to ban his family from the wedding, right?" I just smile and say, "Almost mother-in-law. And I'm the guy who said no. Thanks."